Today I'm going to be showing you how to make the most amazing apple pie with the flakiest pie crust. You'll first need to make the pie crust, so let's go over the ingredients. You'll need 2 cups of cold unsalted butter, 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 3 to 4 tablespoons of ice water. You're going to start by cutting your butter into small cubes. So I basically cut the butter like a cross and then I dice it into cubes. Make sure you don't touch the butter too much because it will start warming up, which you do not want. When you're done, it should all look like this. In a bowl, combine all of your dry ingredients and mix. And now the fun part. Start by adding 1/4 of the butter into the flour and just mash the butter with your fingers and repeat. The whole time you're doing this, it should look like a sandy consistency. If it starts clumping up together and you feel that it's warm, just pop it in the freezer or the fridge for a couple minutes and the butter should harden. But this is the consistency that you want. Once all your butter is mixed in, then it's time for the ice water. So I'm adding 3 teaspoons here, which is 1 tablespoon, and I'm just incorporating it and mixing. And in total, I added 3 tablespoons, which is 9 teaspoons of ice water. It should slowly come together. Just keep on squeezing the butter. Make sure that there's no actual cubes left. But it is okay to have little chunks of butter because that's what makes the pie crust flaky. It should come together like this. Just make sure to stop once incorporated like this and don't overmix it because the gluten is not going to make the pie crust flaky. Leave this in the fridge for at least 1 hour or overnight. The secret to a perfect crust is that the dough has to be cold, so don't let it get room temperature. And see the white little chunks in there? That's the butter, and that's exactly what you want for a flaky pie crust. You just don't want any actual cubes that you didn't get to mash up in there. And now it's time to roll it out. Make sure that you put flour on the table and on your rolling pin because this actually sticks pretty well to whatever you're working on. And to pick it up, just use a rolling pin and roll it along with it. And just place it on top of your pie dish. I want to remind you that whenever you're making a pie, make the crust first because this is very time consuming and it has to stay in the fridge. And of course you can buy the already pre-made pie crust, but making your own is just so much better and it tastes so good. And now let's move on to the apple filling recipe. You'll need 4 medium Granny Smith apples, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, half a cup of sugar, half a cup of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of flour, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Start off by peeling all of your apples. You can cut them however you want, but I really like thin slices. Add your lemon juice, and this is just to help prevent browning. And combine all of your dry ingredients in a bowl. And mix that all up. Now sift over your sliced apples and toss the apples in the mixture. It should look like this. Now leave it alone for 10 minutes. The sugar will draw out the liquid from the apples. I let the apples sit in the mixture for about an hour, which is why there's so much liquid. If there's a lot of liquid, I know you'll be tempted to pour it all into the pie because it's just really good flavor, but it won't bake and it won't thicken all the way, so then the inside will be soggy. So just don't add any of the liquid in there. You can decorate the top of the pie however you want, but I chose this weaving pattern. I like to start by placing the strips in the middle first. And just a reminder, your dough has to be cold still. If it looks like this and it's very sticky and warm, put it in the fridge and let it cool. So here you basically lift every other strip up, place a strip in the middle and then cover, and then just do the same thing. So just keep on repeating until you're done. And cut off the excess. And I finished it off by pressing it down with a fork. For a crisp finish, brush the entire pie with an egg white. And top it off by adding sugar. I wish I had that chunky sugar, you know what I mean, but I just had regular sugar. Bake at 375 degrees for an hour, and halfway through, place an aluminum foil sheet on top so that the crust doesn't burn. Just like this. When you're done, you should end up with this golden brown crust, and your kitchen should smell amazing. And you should wait until it completely cools for you to cut it, but I couldn't wait, and so I cut it when it was still warm. And I just want you to notice how flaky the crust is. Seriously, making your own crust from scratch is the best.